What up, everybody? It's the Build Different podcast. Today we have a special guest. He's been around in the background, but he's been always near and dear to our heart. He's helped us a lot. He's a phenomenal data scientist and just really brilliant guy overall. Love picking his brain and getting information from him and throwing problems at him that he's always solving. So just wanted to introduce everybody to Extropian data scientist Bhuvanesh.
Hey,
Yeah.
hi everyone. Thank you so much, Ricky, for such a glad and welcoming intro.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
about time you got on here, man. It's been we've done like what almost 30 episodes, and this is your first appearance.
yeah, I mean, right time, right spot, and right discussion we have, right? And you have the right person.
For sure, yeah. We're talking about AI today. You know, ChatGPT, OpenAI, Bard, all of these different AI technologies, and every day you're hearing about a new company receiving funding for some new form of artificial intelligence. So, we just kind of want to go around and talk about like the benefits. There's some scary things that are going on with it. There's a lot of people that are against it, a lot of people that are for it. We'll start off with you, Bhuvan. That's like, what are your thoughts on AI and ChatGPT and what it's doing for technology, even in your line of work?
Sure. So one thing is for sure, like these kind of AI technologies is not something new. Probably
Mhm.
we have been using this for quite some time, but I would say like the level of details we get right now, or the level of uh, the complexity, of prompts which these language models handle is obviously getting better. But I don't know if you know this. Like long back, we used to have a small uh, Microsoft plugin which we used
Mhm.
to, I don't know exactly what it is called. So it used to help us in doing something. We used to work and all of a sudden it pops out and then, hey, how are you
Oh,
doing, and something like that. Do you remember? Like
yeah, yeah. It was
yeah,
like a paperclip, right?
exactly, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
yeah, so I recently got to know something like that. Like Microsoft is again working on a product, something like that, with all these GPT-4 and GPT-5. So what I'm trying to say is like this is something which we already had. So with respect to machine learning or artificial intelligence, or if you rip off everything, if you see the bare skeleton, it's pretty much the statistics, and mathematics behind it, which runs back 1960s or 1950s.
Yeah.
I see, like at this point of time we started to apply those principles, and with all the advancements of computing, where we could train like billions of parameters out there, and then we could come up with transformation models, which pretty much all GPT or Bard or Palm 2, which recently Google announced. So we are trying to explore its potential, and I say like we are in this wave sailing. I would say like we need to sail along with the wave, instead of being complained about that, okay, hey, this is stealing my job, or stuff like that. But trying to sail along with the wave and try to explore its potential. Definitely, I think like we are in the good time, and I'm chat gpt or whatsoever, it's helping me a lot with respect to my work. Before I used to, if I'm stuck on something, hey, how do I solve this particular formula, or how do I quickly write a logic for this particular code, I used to Google, okay, there's Stack Overflow, and okay, I used to break my head. But right now, ChatGPT doesn't give me the exact answers, like not exactly if ChatGPT or some other language model. It doesn't give me the exact answer, or probably I'm pretty much weak in prompt engineering. They call a new term called prompt engineering, just like Googling. You need to be expert in what you ask. You need to be
Hmm.
you need to know like various nuances, or how do you ask a particular language model. But probably I'm not there, but it gives me on those lines, which pretty much my human brain helps. Okay, you know what, yeah, and then I can pick it up from there. So it's
Hmm.
helping me a lot, and I'm yeah, yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, so far it's a positive experience for you. Um, Sean, have you gotten a chance to mess around with any of the new kind of GPT, Chat GPT, or anything like that?
A little bit. I don't have a ton of experience using it yet. I know like Snapchat added it to like theirs, like you have your own like personal AI, and like You can like ask it weird questions and it'll like just answer you. Like sometimes I like mess with it. Like I'll just like message it back. Like I'll message it a question and it'll respond back in like 5 seconds, and I'll be like, whoa, you're messaging me back too quickly, and it responds back. It's like, oh, sorry, I'll take a little bit more time next time. Like, it's just kind of funny, how like I mean, artificial intelligence, how intelligent it is, and like how it understands everything that you're saying. I think in terms of, I think it's going to be a very useful tool for people who embrace it and people who know how to use it.
Hmm.
Um, and especially for businesses too. I think there's going to be somewhat of a revolution where AI might be able to help one person accomplish tasks much quicker, to the point where instead of needing three people to do this set amount of work, you may only need one or two people, and with the help of AI, and they're getting things done faster, and they're accomplishing the same as what three people could do before AI was really, heavily involved in the process. So that's obviously good on the business side, but from the human side of things and like humanity side, I think that's a little scary because the whole
We'll get
like
into the scary part, yeah.
yeah, but overall, I think there's a lot of good things that have come out of it. I like Bhuvanesh said, there's ways that it's been able to help people, and like, if you want a quick answer to something, it's so like it's able to take questions like imperfect questions and get answers a lot better than just like Google is, for example.
Because Justin, I remember you were working on something for us, and you actually used it and it helped you out quite a bit, right?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to bring up. But before I got to that, it's actually funny we're talking about this because a couple days ago, my parents were asking me what ChatGPT was, and I FaceTimed them and I helped them download it and sign up for, or not download it, sign up for it and stuff and use it. And it was like a caveman discovering fire or something. They like couldn't believe what they were seeing. They're like, "What is this? This is so crazy." And we were just playing around with it, and I even learned something like learn new ways to use ChatGPT. I was watching my mom Google or type in like explain what a margin call is from a stock market, but explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. And then it gave back an answer like it's talking about like a toy store and like candy and stuff, and that's how it explained it. I thought that was hilarious. It's amazing, and I cannot wait to see how my parents like start using it more often. I think it's going to be amazing, especially for their work. My dad's a doctor. I feel like there's a lot of cool potential for him to use that in his office. But yeah, as far as the coding goes, it's that the one thing I've really liked about it too is that it's been a great way to understand the code, not just get the code that you need to do some sort of task, but to also just understand what you're using the code for, what it does. I've even gone through old assignments I did back in grad school where I was using Python and stuff and concepts that I was struggling with. And I've entered that code into ChatGPT and it's given a really basic explanation that makes so much more sense. And it's kind of crazy how much more it's helped me to understand things. And yeah, I was even using it for the one thing that we were working on a couple weeks ago, and it's crazy. It saves so much time. It makes more sense. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think my first experience was I was actually with Justin. We were going to a fight, and I think Raul had it on his phone, and
Yeah.
we were just messing with it, and we were just telling him to do all of these crazy different, essays. And I think Justin asked it to like do write a 500-word essay on why tacos are the best food out there, and like I mean, it's just impressive. I think the speed of how quickly it gets things done is really impressive, and like Bhuvanesh said, this has been around since the '60s. It's just weird how like technology kind of goes, like it's always been like in the '60s, '70s. We've had these technologies, and even like virtual reality, like and AR, like AR has been around for forever. And I remember Nintendo having a VR headset like back in the day, and then it's came back again and it's like improved, and that's what AI's kind of came around in that same fashion, and now people are utilizing it, I mean, for everything. And like showing you what you said about businesses, I'm like constantly reading business articles, but it's like you need to figure out how to use AI for your business or you're going to be behind. You're going to let your competitors surpass you, because AI is being implemented, like you said, for basically saving the company time, saving the company money. I was reading this article where it was like how much more efficient it's making companies and businesses. So I mean, we're just really scratching the surface now of what this thing is going to become. Imagine, we're on what, Chat GPT 4 or 5 now. Imagine what 7 and 8 are going to be. But you
Yeah,
know,
we are in for.
it's my thing. I
So
can't imagine use. I can't imagine using it for school, but like when you were doing like a research paper or something, or not saying plagiarizing. We'll get to that when we're talking about the negative side of it, but using it to look up things, and you had people that used to have to go. You used to have to go to the library to get your information, and then you look on a microfiche, and then check out a book, and then it became you go on Google. So like imagine now, like what these kids are going to be, how they're going to be doing their assignments and getting all their stuff done. Like imagine like even in classes, like these kids, a book report, they'll just have Chat GPT just tell them everything they need to know about the book and give them maybe questions that the teacher might ask. I mean, it's really wild what all you can do with this, and yeah, it's going to be fun to see what you know how it changes people's lives, how it makes us more efficient, and even in the medical industry, like Justin was saying, I've seen that they're trying to integrate this to solve problems and help with surgeries and complex issues with the body. So, and medicine as well. This could be a solution for diseases. Just finding cures and things like that. So it's just wild, everything that this can do. But speaking on the good things, there's also with everything that's kind of powerful, anything that people are going to find a way to use it the wrong way, and anything as powerful as this and as revolutionary as this, somebody's going to find a way to to take this and like do things that are harmful to other people, try to scam people. So Justin, what do you think of like some of the negative things about Chat GPT? Like what are the things that maybe frighten you about its usage in the future?
I mean, definitely the plagiarism one is a big one. I don't know if you guys saw the story recently about the the class of students, and I forgot which college it was, but like half the class, ChatGPT was, or the professor asked ChatGPT if the student plagiarized their essay, and ChatGPT said yes to everyone. So the professor failed like half the class. So either I can't remember what the exact circumstances were, but it's either half the class actually did use ChatGPT and they were plagiarizing, or ChatGPT was incorrect, or there was some sort of incorrect. It was giving an incorrect answer, and those kids didn't actually plagiarize. Either way, that's not necessarily a good situation to be in. But yeah, I think as far as like an academic situation, I feel like that's kind of the scary thing, and I feel like it's gonna force schools to go back to like typewriters and stuff.
Yeah, there was I think I sent it I think I sent it to you, Sean. Right? It was an assignment where the student, I mean, they just completely plagiarized the thing. It was a written, like I guess they rewrote everything, but on the top of it, it said something like, "I am just a chat bot" or something like that. That you can't, utilize me for all the right answers. So it, instead of the kid like actually having their name and stuff up there, it had like I think something about Chat GPT and some disclaimer or something. They didn't even, they plagiarized so bad they didn't even take off the verbiage from Chat GPT. So yeah, just
And yeah, I mean, jumping in on that, I think something that's crazy that I found out from my friend is like, like, okay, let's say like a whole class, right, has a prompt to write an essay. And the prompt is like, oh, what are the three themes of this book or whatever? And like everyone puts that into ChatGPT, and like theoretically it might not always give you the same answer, maybe it gives you different ones. But then one of my buddies said you can even go to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a different answer, like
yeah,
after you've already asked it the question, and it'll give you a completely differently worded thing, as if it's like a like so you could write two completely different essays using ChatGPT. And like, so it's theoretically like it should be so difficult. I mean, what Justin said is actually interesting about the teacher asking it to recognize whether it was used by ChatGPT or not.
Hmm.
That could be a useful tool for teachers to use if it's accurate enough. Um, but that's something that kind of like scared me. I was like, damn, like there's like you can just like for another if you're willing to put in an extra 10 seconds, it'll write you a completely different essay that shouldn't be what anyone else wrote. Like it's just like wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What about you, Bhuvanesh?
yeah, pretty much on the same lines. Like, it concerns me a bit because, like, uh, so we have been looking for quick answers. I mean, to some extent, yeah, it's making us more efficient, but to some extent, I feel like probably no. I'll make my way there. So, say for example, I'm searching for X, and in this process of searching for X, I find A, B, C, and D. Probably I might not be useful. It might not be useful there, but okay, I somewhere or other I learn few things. But using this to some extent, I feel like I'm directly it directly gets me there. So it pretty much shuts few windows for my human brain to explore.
Hmm.
uh, that is really concerning. Say before I used to search for a particular error, which I used to have it in my work, or like pretty much in Extropian, but I used to learn like the inside out of it. Okay, why is this happening and stuff like that. But right now when I go to ChatGPT or any other language model, and then it gives me the solution there, probably it restricts me to think too much. That's something which is concerning. I think
Hmm.
it's pretty much each individual point of view. Okay, okay, it's giving me the answer. I'm done with this. Okay, what's next? That is one way of approaching. And two, okay, why don't we get to the under the hood and try to understand what exactly is this, and and why don't we solve it ourselves? So yeah, there's like both side of the coin. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Like, you guys always want like ready solutions, or
Well, that I think you pointed something out. It's like the education levels dropping here already,
exactly?
and we're society overall is just not as into reading. We're not as into like mathematics and all of the sciences anymore. So our kids going to be really truly learning now. You know what I mean? Like the system is getting smarter while humanity's declining, which is a scary thought. You know what I mean? Because these things are built. The more parameters they keep putting into it, the more intelligent it's going to become.
Hmm.
And then like if we don't, if the workforce isn't being truly educated, then these things, that's when the AI, is going to replace people and jobs are going to be lost because the workforce isn't going to be educated enough. And this thing is only going to get more and more intelligent and produce the correct answer every time to the problems that the company has or whatever. So, I
And
think you pointed out like something that could actually happen there.
and I think too, adding on to that, I think really what it's going to come down to is the human side of it, right? The humans that are using the AI, are they using it for good? Like, are they using it to help them along the way to get to answers that may have just been like hard to find, or like just like making life more efficient? Or are they using it as a shortcut because they don't want to actually go through the process of learning to get the correct answer? That's where I think you're going to see the biggest differentiator is if you're doing the first option, then good, you're going to be more efficient and learn and become better at whatever you're trying to do. If you're using it as a shortcut, then it's hurting you, and it's hurting society, it's hurting, it's a negative, it's a big negative.
Yeah, there was another thing. It had just popped up on my phone before we were coming on. I think it was the OpenAI CEO testified in front of the Senate
Yeah.
about how it can be used for, how AI and these systems are going to be used to spread disinformation in elections, and how it's going to interfere in elections. Imagine like, we had different interferences in like all of our elections. Just, imagine now what it's going to do, on both sides. both sides can utilize AI to spread, misinformation. I mean, you can. The scary thing is too is like the voice AI as well. Like, you can put anything, political foes, have them saying something they never said. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
deep fake.
eh,
Hmm.
yeah, yes, and then also too like images placing people. Like setups. We always hear these government conspiracies and things like that. They could place Sean at the store and say he was the guy that robbed the store or whatever, and have
I
his
wasn't
image there.
there. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
We got a picture of you
Yeah.
How do you prove it?
there.
Yeah, and I mean, touching on that too. I think I was telling Ricky and Justin the other day. I saw an article about a like female influencer who used AI to create like an AI profile of herself that was messaging people, and people were paying money per minute of messaging this AI that like had used previous videos and conversations from her to like basically mimic her, like her talking and her voice and her like image and everything like that. And then like to me, that's another issue that I think on the negative side, that's scary. I don't want to be talking to a robot, like
Well,
I yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
no, we talked about this. We had a long conversation when we were in Atlanta about this, about like dating. You know what I mean? I've never done the online dating thing, but I can imagine how people would use it. Maybe you're not comfortable talking to a man or a woman or whatever, and use ChatGPT to have your conversation. You know what I mean? So we're already kind of in this world now where we're not communicating with each other the way we used to. There's I think that's why there's such a rise of a lot of things that are happening, the negative things that happen now in society now, because we don't communicate the way we used to. Everything's done virtually. Everything we type things, and now we're going to be using potentially Chat GPT. So imagine like you're dating somebody, and you're meeting them, and you're the whole conversation, you're actually talking to a bot. You're talking to an AI system rather than an actual person. So people may be having a relationship and not even know it. You may be getting catfished by AI. You know what I mean? Like meet the person, like the conversation just isn't the same. So people out there might be having relationships with AI and not even know it.
It reminds me of that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. It came out like 2 years
Yes, I was
ago.
going to mention that.
That's what it
I
sounds
was
like.
going to mention that. You know what's crazy though, Sean, about what you said about the conversations is I was looking up this company. It's called Replica, and I think the founder of it, one of her best friend died, I think, and she built an AI system that basically took all of their old text messages, and she could literally have conversations with her dead friend about current events and things like that. So
Wow.
she did that. It was just like a side project, and she put it out there, and people were using it. So people were using it and like talking to like just some people were using it to talk to people that died, family members, friends, have conversations with them. It had an avatar as well, so people could have like a online like AI girlfriend or boyfriend and actually chat with them. And she said it gave a lot of people comfort. Gave people that didn't really have somebody in their life comfort. They had somebody to talk to. And then the people that lost family members, friends, whatever, loved ones, they felt like they were still talking to their old family member, friend, or whatever, because the conversations were just like the conversations they would literally have with them when they were alive. So I think they have over 1 to 2 million users on that platform right now, and I can't even imagine that. Like your grandparents, whoever that's passed, and you're literally having conversations with them about what's happening today, and that's wild.
I could
That's
see why people like that, but to me that's spooky.
It's
Yeah,
creepy, right?
like the
I
yeah,
don't
Matrix.
want to talk to dead people.
It's like talking to a ghost. Um, so it was funny as well because when I was looking that up, I just went down the rabbit hole of AI, and 1966, I saw like it was kind of a very basic system. It was created, and there's an effect that they call the Eliza effect because that was the name of this chatbot in 1966, and it was very basic. It would just be like it basically, if you asked it something, it would answer with a question. But the physicist and the psychologist that was monitoring it was like people were getting emotionally attached to the system, and it was like simple answers. Like it wasn't like what ChatGPT and OpenAI and all these companies do. But people, so the Eliza effect is essentially like you feel an attachment to, even though you know it's not real, there's an actual attachment, and you feel like the system actually has feelings and emotions, and you show feelings and emotions towards it because it feels like it understands you and like it's sympathetic to you. So that's, he was back then in 1966 when they like did this, they were worried like, okay, this is a little scary, the potential that this has. So I'm wondering if that's why, AI kind of took a step back for a couple of years, and now it's kind of back on track again. Because imagine 1966, if they would have continued on that path, like we would already be using, I don't even know where we would be because look what we are now and how quickly it's evolving.
Yeah. Another
So,
side I was thinking about is like, how do you feel like AI is replacing jobs over the next like 10 years, 20 years or so?
I mean,
Ye-
I see it
Yeah,
happening. I mean, like if companies are going overseas or going to different countries to, cut costs, like why not use an AI system to cut costs and reduce your overhead, reduce your staff? Like it's sad to say, but I see that happening. Like every business is in the business of profitability, and if it's profitable, why would you not use it?
yeah.
I do
I was
think.
about to discuss about that, like the industries which got literally disrupted by this,
Yeah.
uh, GPT and like Bard. Like if you see, sorry to interrupt, Sean. Like
No,
because
no,
like
go ahead.
as soon as these announcements were there were a lot of use cases which got spun around, like law based industries. Because at the end of the day, law is something which you have everything in textual format, or at least in written format. So they were like pretty much a lot of use cases. So one which I could imagine is like you have uh, virtual attorneys where the system could provide like more accurate details of questions for the clients, and so also, like with respect to comparing models, I feel like Google's Bard, which is basically palm based model, was more accurate with respect to ChatGPT in terms of law, because I feel like ChatGPT is, or like GPT is more of it's yeah, it's good, it's but not accurate as but this is my opinion. But if you guys tried both, like let us know, like which do you feel is more accurate or more. So I feel ChatGPT is more conversational, it keeps you engaged, it gives you like more creative answers. A Bard is more accurate, it gives like more accurate details.
Sean, you were gonna mention something?
Yeah,
I don't remember what
You
I was
lost your
gonna
you were
say.
you were talking about the jobs. You were talking about the jobs.
Yeah. As far as jobs, I think when when that becomes a factor, I think there's going to be some industries that are not immune to AI influencing it, but like as much AI as you have is never going to be able to fix a like light bulb, right? Like someone needs to come to your house and fix a light bulb. Like AI can't come and change a light bulb. So,
Yeah,
but
but it still can call, like it can sense if the
it
light bulb is
can,
working.
yeah, it can potentially make it so that the electrician doesn't need to have an assistant anymore. It has a,
Yeah,
maybe AI support thing that schedules appointments for them or something like that. So, I think there's a lot of things that could affect positively and negatively, depending
Hmm.
on, which side of the coin you are on. Um, but I think that's a great point, Bhuvanesh, with law. I never even thought of that,
Yeah.
like, because I've watched a bunch of TV shows about like lawyers and stuff like that, and like so much of it is looking back at old cases and trying to find
Yes.
some precedent, some loophole, some reason why your client should or should not be, um, like charged with whatever they're accused of. So like that makes a lot of sense for somewhere where ChatGPT or like AI in general would be used.
You might be able to represent yourself. There's a lot of people that they can't afford an attorney. Maybe they're imprisoned, and you use ChatGPT to help you
Yeah,
out with your case. But
yeah. I was
um,
checking Bard when I was filing IRS this time. I mean, like, is there any possibility I could get more? No, yeah. I mean, it's very helpful.
do you see this replacing? Because obviously Google has Bard, but I know there's because ChatGPT, I think Microsoft invested 10 billion in them. Um, do you see one winning out over the other, or do you think this is something where it's just going to be other companies are just going to keep rising up? Because Google, I think Google was really spooked, and that's what made them, start investing in more into AI. Because I think ChatGPT already Microsoft had invested in them early, and the Bing, I think Bing lost out big time to Google. Obviously, nobody ever uses Bing, but ChatGPT kind of gave Microsoft a new life again. And now, Google's like, we can't have that. We gotta keep our place in the search engine optimization. We need to be number one. So, do you think one's gonna beat the other out, or is it just gonna be?
So that's a really subjective question, and my comments are like more. I mean, okay, I'm not, inclined towards Google nor against Microsoft, but I do see like, Microsoft did like shake a little bit of Google.
Hmm.
Google had their reality check, but one thing like, we cannot underestimate Google. So what I think, or like what I feel, before all these, the whole wave of GPT and stuff like that, Google pretty much predicted, AI is going to be there, and I feel like the main reason they do not do all these, they do not want to reinvent their search because of their revenue towards AdSense. So if you Google something,
Hmm.
that pretty much you have like first five or six, first six pretty much regarding to the AdSense, which is their main revenue. So
Hmm.
so yeah, Google has like a lot of other businesses as well. Like they're into cloud, they are into operating system, mobile OS, and stuff like that. But predominantly, if you see Google's revenue, it's more of like AdSense. I may be wrong, but we had like my and my friend had this discussion long back. So what, like this is like 3 years back. Hey, what if Google, reinvents their search and they give like direct answers? There's like a lot of you know lot of not direct answers being given, or like they I feel like, okay, they do this wantedly. They want you to, uh, they
Stay
want,
searching.
yeah, they're still searching, and they give like first six preferences to their ads and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
think Google wantedly, because they have a lot of data compared to what Microsoft had, and they have like pretty like big market share in search engines. Like I think somewhere around 80 or 85, and you cannot put all the way from 85 to zero, uh, with someone who knows what they're doing, and someone with they're highly backing on technology. They're reinventing things. If you see, so I'm pretty sure you might have know about this Google IO. They have been doing a lot of things, but I'm not sure if everything has been in production. Like 3 years back, they went on you know creating something for like a Google Assistant, which can make a call and stuff like that. After 3 or 4 years, we have it live. I think people who use Android, pretty much are aware of this. But they gave a demo 4 years back with what AI can capable of doing it. So my answer would be, yeah, Microsoft did pretty much shake a little bit of Google, but I think Microsoft plays it very safe. So they're trying to get that AI to their products,
Hmm.
which is pretty much in their office. So they're very strong in that. Like every like at least like most of the offices out there, they use Microsoft products, and it's bundled up. So
Hmm.
when you give what you want within your office suite, instead of me googling there, okay, see, okay, I pretty much work on office tools. Excel, Word. And if I'm working on
Hmm.
Word, I have questions. So unless and until I move out of this platform, and unless and until you give me what I required in this platform, there's no necessity for me to go to other platform, right? So I think
True.
Microsoft pretty much knows what they are. They pretty much know. Okay, you know what? Like, I know I'm not going to win you over search engines, but what if I make people to stay in my apps itself? Why should
Hmm.
I not make you move them? So if you see, like, I think they're integrating Excel with Python, so that
Hmm.
way it's going to give a lot of capability, and Word is getting more smart, like Word, PowerPoint presentation. So they're trying to try the users within their products, and then that way probably they could win over Google. But with respect to search engines, I think Google is very far ahead.
I think you pointed something out. Like that would be incredible to like if you're working in Word or Excel and you never have to go out of the application to go and then search and then come back to it if it's integrated into the whatever you're using, Excel or PowerPoint, whatever. Like imagine all of that stuff is just integrated. You never have to leave office all on that one screen.
Yeah, that's how he's planning to do it. Like, if you see Google
Hmm.
still has their own workspace, but they're trying very hard to get into that space. Like, they're providing most of the Google workspace for free. At least the cost is very less compared to Office, but Office,
Hmm.
they have everything packaged. Like, if you see any company out there, like, they have Power BI, which pretty much has all these reports built. And not just that alone, like, they have more core technical tools like SQL Server, and then they have licensing for C Sharp. And so I think Microsoft pretty much, okay, so they understand the strong area. Okay, you know what, we're not going to lose this. Okay, this is where we are going to implement. And they slowly try to bring other AI capabilities into this. So instead of going there, instead of me competing in my weak area, why don't I compete myself in the strong area? I think this is the strategy.
That's a smart thing. Just enhance what you're best at, like what your bread and butter is. Don't go outside of it.
Yeah.
Sean, you were gonna say something?
Um, no, I mean, just kind of, adding on to what Bhuvanesh was gonna say, or what Bhuvanesh was saying. I think, um, like, that it's become a legitimate phrase that people say. Like, if you don't know something, like, oh, just Google it. Like, it's
Hmm.
not even like, oh, look it up. It's like, oh, Google. Like, Google is such a huge majority of search engines right now. Like, that's just what people think of when they think of a search engine. Like, they don't even think of Bing, or I don't even know what the other ones are. Yahoo might have one, something like that.
It was like
Firefox, Mozilla.
Netscape back in the day.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
all those
You say
are.
what, Justin?
Ask,
Hotwing?
I
Ask
don't,
Jeeves?
yeah, I
Yeah, I
remember.
Yeah,
remember Ask Jeeves.
You guys forgot Firefox, Mozilla.
Mozilla Firefox, yeah.
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 yeah. So, but like nowadays,
Someone got
it's
crushed.
um everyone's just, oh, Google it. And I think even now, like, Google too is, with Google Docs, Google Sheets, that's becoming a bigger thing. And they are pushing Microsoft a little bit with that, where, instead of using Excel, instead of using Word, like, I find myself using Google Docs and Google Sheets more often. Like,
Hmm.
um and I think they both kind of have their own benefits and downsides, but I think that's kind of become a bigger thing too. So I definitely think that, both companies, if they can find ways to incorporate AI, it's definitely going to be beneficial.
What do you, okay, so going, we kind of talked about the past, we talked about, the present. What do you see as being the future of this? Is there any thoughts on where this can go, Justin?
I was actually thinking while Sean was talking, I was trying to think about what jobs AI could not replace. I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but I was just trying to think of different jobs, and the one that like I thought of like president. Do you think like president like they could ever replace a human president of a country? I thought that was more funny.
I would say it could. So I remember, like, reading an article where they made, you know, I think a language model as CEO for 2 days, or 2 or 1 days, and it did pretty well. Hope
Really?
you also, yeah, and then yeah, and they saw, like, some kind of decisions which it made had good, um, it was pretty much profitable. I think it could pretty much replace president, but yeah, for sure.
I think from policy standpoint, it potentially could, but there's the human
Yeah.
emotional side of it that I don't think it could ever replace. So like imagine like if the solution is bombing a country, you know what I mean, and you're gonna
Oh
kill
yeah.
millions of kids. The
Yeah.
system isn't gonna care. It's gonna be like let's bomb them because that's gonna be the solution, the best solution. So you know, obviously like the policy side and figuring certain things out, like like especially like financial, like even the debt, like our debt ceiling issues now, maybe using it for something like that, but not dog in the background. Um, but yeah, the emotional side just isn't there. So rational, emotional decisions that not we would want it to be in charge of that.
It's kind of like that
There's
quote from Jurassic Park. It's like we spent so much time trying to figure out if we could, we forgot to see if we should. Should do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There show I was watching, I learned a little bit about a theory called the greater good theory. And I feel like that's something that could be, an issue with AI is, right? Like, let's say AI thinks that the greater good, right, is killing 5 people over the chance of 500 people dying. Like, AI is
Hmm.
going to say, oh, that's a no brainer. Statistically, it makes sense for those 5 people. And it's like, you're still talking about killing people or something like, it's like,
Yeah.
there's got to be, like, I think at the very least, if you're going to have AI in some sort of position of power, there's got to be checks and balances to it where you're having someone monitor it and make sure that none of the decisions are, being made without considering the emotional side of it.
Yeah. So
Right.
I
Yeah,
was about to say that.
life and death situations. I wouldn't let AI be in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So if you see like all these, big giants, right? Like Google, OpenAI, and all these people, they are actually working on the next particular process of this language models, which is basically emotional balance, and how do we train these language models to produce like unbiased results. Like pretty much right now, whatever most of the results are good, but like there are few results like which are pretty much biased. Like if you see, I remember like there was, okay, not just for textual format, there are like other models which can generate images like Wally and sorry
Hmm.
Dali and stuff like that. So they were like few prompts like trying to generate few countries, human countries, ethnicity people, and then it came up with some biased images, and then probably
Hmm.
these kind of, but I think like it's going to be a very difficult problem to solve. We need to, who lays those foundation, who lays those whose constitutions, like okay, how do I say this is correct and how do I say this is not correct, is something which is really subjective, and it's highly argumentative. But I think I remember seeing one of the interviews of Google CEO, and he was saying, "Yeah, we are trying to solve that. None of them have tried solving it, but it's going to be highly argumentative, and it's going to be the most difficult part in you know uh,
Yeah,
solving it." Mhm.
yeah. That's the thing I saw. Like I was looking at is there's so much like bad rhetoric online, and this thing is like picking up everything online. So there's already like like lies on the internet. You know what I mean, about every and anything, conspiracies about everything.
Yeah,
Racism, sexism. All type of things. So imagine like this system picking all of that up and taking it and running with it, and that's the downside of it is, I mean, if it's stupid people put stupid stuff on the internet, and this thing is picking that up. So that's I think the downside of it is there's just so much information out there. It's taking crap, it's taking good things, it's taking um some bad things, and just blending it, taking it in a blender and spitting it out. um but as far as the future, like I know one thing that somebody's going to try and do is try and put this into some type of a robot, some type of, make it sentient, make it make it have some type of emotion. And I think about, you mentioned the movie, what was it, Her, with
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
I think of Ex Machina. Remember that movie? Did you ever see that?
with Oscar Isaac, I think.
Where I can't remember. It was where basically it's a good movie. Just check it out if you guys ever want to see it. It was a little creepy because it had like it was an AI system. Um, it had feelings, it had emotions, it learned, and it had skin, and it was a robot essentially, but it had ability. It had like a skin that it could put out that made it look human. I forget who the actress was. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. So the guy ended up falling in love with it. He knew it was a machine.
Mhm.
She ended up learning about him. She ended up manipulating him, and he tried to like I guess lock her away and destroy her at the end because he realized she was starting to become evil. And she escaped out into the world, left him, and locked him up. She manipulated him and took advantage of his emotions because he was falling in love with her. But that's where I'm fearful of something like that going is
That's the future.
um, that might be the future. That's the scary part. Yeah.
That's gonna be dating
Any
apps.
other thoughts? Any other? Huh?
That's gonna be what dating apps are gonna be like.
Yeah. I mean, you can generate pictures like images of people that didn't even exist. Like
That's
you could have a
crazy.
Yeah.
whole online dating. Yeah, you could have a whole online dating experience with somebody that doesn't even exist, but they're just a image that was generated, and probably they could keep generating different images of them in different places. And you're actually talking to them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Scary. Any other thoughts on the future of this, or Sean? Anything from you?
Nope, all good on my end.
So
Awesome.
future, like I feel optimistic about it. I mean, to some extent. Uh,
Hmm.
so there were okay. There has always been, like pros and cons for any revolutionary things which I think human invented. Starting from
Hmm.
wheels, starting from aeroplanes, starting from ships. But I feel like it's that's something which is going to push us a step forward and probably
Hmm.
explore more. So I feel like pretty optimistic. So with fingers crossed, we pretty much as humans, have some kind of boundaries which I think at least we are emotionally connected and we know, okay, we need to do this or we need not do this, but because we pretty much regret like for whatever we did in with respect to nuke, or at least most part of the humans, right? So I feel like we are pretty I'm pretty much optimistic about it, and we are evolving a lot. If you see like over the last 10,000 years and within 200 years what had happened, there's been a enormous growth, like enormous stuff which is happening compared to last 10,000 years or so. So
Hmm.
this is going to pretty much push us in a zone where we are going to explore more. That's what I feel. It's going to open up something new. Probably we don't know at this point of time. I think quantum computing is coming up, and who knows, like AI and quantum computing would pretty much. We don't know something like that existed. We will probably know about that. So yeah, I'm pretty much optimistic, and I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping we are going to explore more.
The hope for me is that we fear everybody fears what they don't know, and a lot of people don't know AI's capabilities and where it can go. So hopefully it's just an irrational fear because we don't know what it is and what it can become. But my fear though is other countries that kind of don't put boundaries in place. They're
Yeah.
bent on destruction and bent on becoming the top you know grossing country in the world or anything like that that would use it. And same thing with like genetic gene hacking and um, you know, cloning and things like that. There's certain countries that say, yeah, we're not doing that. There's other countries that I'm sure have been experimenting and probably cloning all type of things. It could be the same with this. That's the kind of the fear. Yeah, but with that being said, we wanted to wrap up and any final words from everybody? We good? So hopefully, hopefully we'll be around for the next 30 years. AI hasn't killed us all or anything, but yeah, no, thank you guys for tuning in. Always want to tell Bhuvanesh that we appreciate you hopping on. Hopefully we can bring you on for more
Pleasure.
episodes. I know the audience is gonna take a liking to you. They'll probably be asking for Bhuvanesh in future episodes. And yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. You know, like, comment, and subscribe, and comment if you guys have any thoughts on AI and its future. You know, leave some comments in the comment section. We appreciate you guys, and with that, we want to say we are out, and see you guys next week.